So, Caitlin Clark is so obviously the best point guard in the WNBA right now. Like, Sabrina Ionescu's pretty damn good. Skylar Diggins, I think Skylar Diggins still has a bit in her, but I don't put her in the Sabrina-Caitlin conversations.
Caitlin Clark is without a doubt the best point guard in the WNBA right now. Sure, Sabrina Ionescu and Jewel Lloyd are solid, and Skylar Diggins has a lot left in her, but none of them compare to Caitlin Clark. Did you catch Caitlin Clark's rookie season in the WNBA? In just her first year, she turned one of the worst offenses in the league into an unstoppable force, and she did it in just 1 month.
First of all, in stating the case that Caitlin Clark is the best point guard in the WNBA, frankly, Caitlin Clark is the best point guard in the history of the WNBA already, doesn't need to be a negative to anyone else.
But here's where it gets really interesting. While Caitlin Clark was breaking records left and right, some WNBA analysts are still clinging to the past, propping up players like Chelsea Gray as if it's still 2021.
And I believe, Gray becomes collateral damage in this conversation because when she's propped up as the point guard, and Chelsea Gray makes some awesome flashy passes, but when people overstate it at the expense of Clark, then people need to bring down Chelsea Gray to bring up Clark, when none of that's necessary.
Let's break down why this isn't just wrong, but why it's ignoring the future of basketball that's right in front of us. First, let's make the case that Caitlin Clark is the best point guard in the WNBA.
I mean, look at this statistic. I forget, this was from September. Caitlin Clark had tied the WNBA record for most career games with 25 points and 10 assists. No one is scoring and dishing at the rate Caitlin Clark is. No one is scoring and dishing at the rate Caitlin Clark is in the history of the WNBA.
She's not just good, she's rewriting the record books already. And when you put her side by side with Chelsea Gray, you'll see why the WNBA media's stance is completely off the mark. Chelsea Gray, while a great player,
Chelsea Gray is the best point guard in the WNBA. That hasn't changed because she had a down year returning from injury. The disrespect on her name was ridiculous. And look, I mean, everybody's entitled to their opinion, but there's just no way to, actually defend that in regards to the season Caitlin Clark had. And of course, Clark is going to be brought up in regards to that because she's also a point guard.
Has become collateral damage in this conversation. When she's elevated as the point guard, it's at the expense of recognizing Caitlin Clark's abilities. And frankly, there's no need to tear anyone down to bring Clark up. Let's dive into the numbers because what I'm about to show you.
And Natalie, I believe it said last year that a compromised Chelsea Gray was 10 times better than Caitlin Clark, which causes Clark fans to get on the defense. But I just want to separate, congratulations to Chelsea Gray getting back to form. I don't need to take shots at Chelsea Gray to simply point out obvious things about Caitlin Clark.
Is mind-blowing. Caitlin Clark isn't just good, she's setting new records. And when we compare her to Chelsea Gray, the difference becomes clear.
She is already the best point guard in the history of the WNBA from an offensive creation standpoint. And now the Fever have put all this improved personnel.
Clark has already tied the WNBA record for most career games with 25 points and 10 assists. And we're talking about her rookie season. This isn't just impressive, it's historic.
Making some good passes, finding open players, and hitting some crazy fadeaway shots in unlimited space because they can't throw double teams is not the same as basically turning one of the worst offenses in the WNBA, the Fever pre-Caitlin Clark, into the best offense in the WNBA in one season.
We're witnessing offensive creation at a level that's never been seen before in the league. Take a look at this. Caitlin Clark is breaking records no one else has come close to in the history of the WNBA.
In 1 month of playing Caitlin Clark's playstyle, they became the most deadly offensive team in the WNBA. That is why she's the best point guard. And on the defensive end, at this point in time, Caitlin Clark and Chelsea Gray are even. Caitlin Clark is 100 times better than Chelsea Gray on the defensive end right now.
Now you might be thinking, what about Gray? She's been a standout for years, right? Well, here's where things get interesting. Gray's game has slowed down significantly since her injury, and she's just not able to keep up with Caitlin Clark's pace anymore. It's like watching two different sports. Chelsea Gray is a fantastic player, but she's not the same after that injury.
And Chelsea Gray had a tremendous performance in the last Unrivaled game. Chelsea Gray had a significant injury a couple of years back and was coming back from it last year. So I do not want to prop up Caitlin Clark in order to take down Chelsea Gray.
The disrespect thrown her way because of a down year returning from injury is ridiculous. But the truth is, there's no real argument when it comes to comparing her to Caitlin Clark right now. Let's talk about shooting. This is where Caitlin Clark really shines.
Clark isn't going to need to create everything herself because she's got other capable people now, which is going to make her life easier. It's going to bring her efficiency up. But she's going to be diming everybody up like it's an all-star game every game.
Her shooting percentages are way higher than Gray's. And remember, Gray has always been known for her shot making, but Clark is taking it to another level. She's pulling up from distances that Gray wouldn't even dream of. It's changing the entire dynamic of the game.
And she can pull from anywhere on the floor. She can get to the hoop herself. It's just a silly, stupid conversation to put anybody else in her class as a point guard. And it also shows, the Fever are going to be frightening and formidable offensively. Perhaps, the most terrifying offense the league has ever seen with the upgrades that they...
Now, last year, someone claimed that Chelsea Gray was 10 times better than Caitlin Clark, which of course riled up Clark's fans. But let's separate the facts here. It's great to see Chelsea Gray back to form, but we don't need to take shots at Gray to recognize what Clark is doing.
But the thing is with Chelsea Gray is that she is not the same. Chelsea Gray, post-injury, cannot run. Like in Unrivaled, when she's getting cooked on the defensive end, but when she's able to control the tempo.
It's not just about scoring, though. Caitlin Clark's court vision is next level. Her assist numbers are off the charts. She's not just putting points on the board, she's creating opportunities for her entire team in ways we've never seen before. Clark is already the best.
She can't run. Like, I'm sorry. Nobody's questioning Chelsea Gray's ability to play basketball, and if you are, that's not the argument. She can't run. It's like watching people speak about the WNBA. People are paid to speak about the WNBA. It is like these people have never watched basketball before.
Point guard in the WNBA from an offensive creation standpoint, and now with the improved personnel around her, her impact is only going to increase. Now, what about team impact? Clark didn't just join the Fever, she completely transformed them.
Chelsea Gray is slowing the tempo down, backing down. She's got a whole bunch of space to work with, and she's hitting crazy shots. She's hitting crazy, crazy shots. And I gotta give her credit for that. But what? No! The reason why Caitlin Clark is so good is because what it does to the team. The point guard is supposed to be about how the team...
We're talking about one of the worst offenses in the league becoming a powerhouse almost overnight. Gray's team has been solid, but what Clark has done is on a whole different level. It's not just about making good passes or hitting crazy fadeaway shots with unlimited space.
It doesn't have to always devolve into this crap, and maybe I'm feeding into it, because it's nice to see Chelsea Gray get back into form. It's nice to see Chelsea Gray be celebrated. It's nice to see Chelsea Gray get her confidence back.
Caitlin Clark has taken a team that was near the bottom of the league and turned them into the best offensive team in the WNBA in just one season. Here's where it gets really crazy.
So often, the Caitlin Clark conversation and discourse has been hijacked by something else, by other things, by things that really got nothing to do with basketball. And people try to make it about a rivalry with Angel Reese, try to make it about Caitlin Clark's race, try to make it about paying respect to those who came before because Clark is getting an outsized share of the attention.
Clark's range is literally changing the game. She's shooting from distances that are forcing defenses to rethink their entire strategies. Gray is a great player, but she's not stretching the floor like Clark is.
Right? If you just let's say there's, snow outside on the ground. You go and shovel the snow, the grass is underneath. And the grass is that all of this grew from what Caitlin Clark does on the court. And how just transcendent, exemplary a basketball player she is. And it's been a long time since she played basketball. So out of sight, out of mind, I guess you could say.
Chelsea Gray deserves to be celebrated for her veteran status. But when we look at the numbers, the scoring, the assists, the efficiency, the range, it's clear that Caitlin Clark is playing at a level we've never seen before in the WNBA. She's not just breaking records, she's shattering them in 1 month of play.
The number one factor in her popularity is her ability and how entertaining she is to watch. You know, that's why fans of all races love her. That's why she's become internationally popular. That's why the record books have her name at the top of them, college and...
When you watch Caitlin Clark on defense, it's clear that while she's not a lockdown defender yet, her hustle and anticipation are already making a difference. On the other hand, Gray, while still solid, just doesn't have the same defensive presence. But the big difference comes when we look at the pace of the game.
If a player is free, Chelsea Gray is as good as Caitlin Clark to find a free player. The difference is Caitlin Clark creates the space. Chelsea Gray finds players that are open. Caitlin Clark creates the space. Caitlin Clark is the reason why Caitlin Clark is the reason why a player gets open. Chelsea Gray finds the open player. That's basically the difference between their passing.
Gray is slowing things down, controlling the tempo like a veteran, while Clark is pushing the pace and completely changing the game. She's playing chess while everyone else is playing checkers.
I'm sorry, like Chelsea Gray can definitely hit players with the 360 no scope better than anyone else. But if you gave Caitlin Clark Aja Wilson, she would average 14 assists a game just to Aja Wilson. Just because she can do some fancy passes and was good, like, does not mean she's the best passer.
Clark isn't just fast, she's smart with it. Now, let's talk about what Clark does for her team. The point guard is supposed to be about how the team plays, but Caitlin Clark's...
The best 2 point guards in the WNBA are Caitlin Clark and Sabrina Ionescu. Hey, it's not close. It is genuinely, it's not close. The two of these are a level above. They are a genuine level above the rest of the players.
Impact goes beyond her individual brilliance. She's making everyone around her better. The way she controls the game, creates opportunities, and sets up her teammates is like she's conducting an orchestra. The Fever are hitting notes they've never hit before.
Ann Stewart, she asked about Caitlin Clark. She wants to know how you would build a team around her and what you think her career will look like.
Yeah, well, she's terrific. I have a Sirius XM show that I had for 20 years. And when she was a senior at Iowa, I had her on my show. And it's on radio, a podcast. It's a Sirius XM show, but it goes all over. And but we do it by Zoom, so you get a better conversation. She was terrific, and it'd be easy to build something on her because she's very the best thing she does is pass. She's a magical passer, and she has a great feel for the game. So, I mean, what her coach did, I would have done exactly what she did. Make sure she handles the ball a lot, and she'll make everybody better. And what I was amazed with at how she's handled all the defenses, and then when she got into the WNBA, some of the negativity that was out there, or jealousies. And I think she's just been remarkable. Just she's a really good basketball.
So when it comes to the question of who the best point guard is, it's clear that Caitlin Clark is rewriting the script. And it's not just us saying this. Coach K, the legendary Mike Krzyzewski, has praised her, calling her a magical passer with an incredible feel for the game. Even he recognizes the potential for a team built around her. And it's not just about the stats and the gameplay. Caitlin Clark's impact is being felt beyond the court. The Fever have seen a massive surge in ticket sales and merchandise since her debut. Fans who never cared about women's basketball before are now tuning in to watch her work her magic. She's not just a star, she's an international sensation. Now you might be thinking, but what about defense? Well, Gray used to be solid on that end, but right now Clark is playing at a higher level defensively. She's still growing, but the potential is already there. And while Chelsea Gray's game has slowed down, Caitlin Clark is evolving game by game. She's learning, she's growing, and every time she steps on the court, she gets better. In the end, Caitlin Clark isn't just the best point guard in the WNBA right now. She's revolutionizing the entire game. She's making history and forcing everyone to rethink what's possible for a point guard. So, what do you think? Is Caitlin Clark really the best point guard in the WNBA? Or are we getting ahead of ourselves? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. We want to hear from you.